Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. If this is your first time checking out a video, please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get into some discussions, let's get into some fights, and ultimately, let's just have some fun. Because at any of the other channels, they don't care about what you have to say. They don't read any of the other comments. But I do. I think we know exactly what we're talking about, which is why I read every single comment, to actually build a community that is actually connected and engaged. And I really think we're doing it. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. We're watching a clip of The Herd with Colin Cowherd talking about the Cowboys. And, how much trouble are they in right now? Dak is not getting extended, at least as of right now. Mike McCarthy's not extended. They don't have a lot of money. They're not really in a position to actually improve or grow as a team. And so, the real question is like, what are their options? And it's an interesting question because it seems like a lot of the teams right now around the league are genuinely getting better. They're making legitimate moves to improve. And last season, the Cowboys had a really easy schedule. They played bad teams, trash teams, non-playoff teams, teams with losing records, and they were able to feast on them. This year, they're playing, I think it's 11 playoff teams. 11. That's crazy. So, let's jump into it, see what Colin has to say.
Heated conversation. Jerry Jones is not going to give Dak Prescott an extension during the season. He said, let it play out. He's not going to give Mike McCarthy, a head coach, an extension, which, by the way, at the college level, it can hurt recruiting. If your coach doesn't have an extension, people use it against you. But in the NFL, nobody cares. You select the players don't select you in most instances. So Jerry Jones was asked about not giving Mike McCarthy an extension, and he said, most of America gets up and they don't have it guaranteed right in front of them. He said, I've had coaches in their final year before. I'm just comfortable with it. I'm sure he is. This is why I think the Cowboys, always a noisy franchise. They have a coach on the hot seat in September.
Yeah.
Dak, final year of his contract, no guarantees. And they don't have any money to make real moves like other teams in their division did.
And the one thing I just want to add real fast is, and that's the thing, how many coaches, how many organizations that are truly elite, that win, that are winning Super Bowls, making, NFC championships, just making the Super Bowl, have coaches that are on the hot seat, have quarterbacks that aren't going to be extended, use the teams that have won previously as a frame of reference. Was Andy Reid on a hot seat? Would you not extend Patrick Mahomes? What about Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay? Was Sean McVay on the hot seat? No. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady at the time, obviously. Like, it's just one of those things where try to model yourself off after the teams that have won in the positions that they won. So it's like that all alone is already not putting you off to a good start.
What's fascinating is in May last year, I'm not sure if there's a set date, but the NFL schedule release is after the draft. The Cowboys play 11 playoff teams. That's a staggering number. And they also got the short end of the stick here. They got the AFC North, the best division in football. So they will face the most improved team in the league, potentially. Atlanta on the road. Deshaun Watson in Cleveland on the road. Russell Wilson and the Steelers on the road. And the Niners on the road.
Is he talking about the
Eagles? Because they were first place in their division, they get a first place schedule. They also face the Texans, the Lions, and the Ravens.
Let's look at this real fast. I think they always play the Eagles tough no matter what. Whether the Eagles are amazing or Eagles are terrible, it's always tough. So I think there's a good chance that they split. That's usually what happens oftentimes. They should beat the Commanders. They should beat the Giants. Should beat the Saints. I can see the Falcons a loss. The Bucks, I could see a win. The Panthers, a win. I could see them losing to the Ravens. So let's see this. Losing to the Eagles once. And then losing to the Ravens, the Browns, the Bengals, The Steelers, I guess it all depends on what they look like. But the Lions, the 49ers, the Texans. So that's 7 losses right there. So that puts you at 10-7. Not to mention there's always that chance, it's always hard to predict, but like the Steelers could beat them, or, the Ravens could lose. It's hard to know. So I think 9 to 10 wins is probably right for the Cowboys. You have to imagine that they'll drop a game that you would have never guessed, right? Like, oh my God, how did they lose to the Giants? But then they pull off a big win, against the Lions or the Texans. It's, I think schedules are always hard to predict. That's why I think it'll probably be around 9 or 10 wins, maybe 11, maybe.
They get Joe Burrow and the Bengals home. Start looking around. That's really tough. Now, there would be a way to gain some inertia, some momentum, and keep the Wolves at bay if you got let's say you get Carolina at home early, or you get some of those NFC South teams early, you get the Giants and the Commanders. But the league likes to put your division games as much as they can in December, those decision-making games, right? You want Philadelphia, Dallas, one of those games will be like the last week or next to the last week. So the schedule release for Dallas, same for Chicago. When you have a coach on the hot seat, Chicago and Dallas, the schedule matters a lot. It doesn't matter necessarily for San Francisco, Detroit, Green Bay. New England's got a new coach. So does Atlanta. Your schedule doesn't mean much. For the Bears and for the Cowboys, and look at that Cowboys schedule. Burrow, Lamar Jackson. You start looking at that home and road schedule. A lot of star quarterbacks in there. They get San Francisco, Baltimore, and Joe Burrow in September. You get off to a 1-3 start for a noisy franchise. Coach on the hot seat. Dak in a contract year. Just saying, Jerry might be comfortable. America might be comfortable not having that extension in front of them.
Whoa. America is not comfortable not having that extension, okay? The citizens are forced to do it, okay? Jerry is comfortable because the dude's a billionaire, okay? And everything's going to be A-okay for him no matter what. Not to mention, he's surrounded by people that are, yes, Jerry, okay? So in his own world, I know a lot of fans, want to yell at him or hate him or whatever, but in Jerry's world, he is king. He is the master. He is God. He is everything. So, yeah, Jerry's comfortable, but bro, how is he throwing that other Americans are uncomfortable? But I think this is this is an interesting conversation to be had with regards to the Cowboys. Because he also mentioned the Chicago Bears with the coach on the hot seat. And again, now you're kind of setting up Caleb Williams to fail because, you have a coach there. But I don't want to get distracted with that. But it's just, again, it's what I said at the top, about you have a coach or even a quarterback or any of these other positions where people are in a hot seat. I understand in some of these situations, we have people rise to the occasion, right? We've seen other players on a contract year ball out and things of that nature. I get that. I don't want to completely discount that. I really, really don't. But it's those pressure cooker situations, those environments, they're not conducive to succeed. More often than not, the people succeed when they are comfortable, when they feel that they're appreciated, respected, trusted. The players love you. Like, again, let's just look at Andy Reid and Bill Belichick. And I always make the argument sometimes it's not the best idea to use the comparisons of the GOATs, right? Because you're talking, right? It's like people say, well, Mahomes didn't do that, or Tom Brady didn't do that, and it's like, well, that's Mahomes and that's Brady. Like what can we do here? But I think in this example there might be some more application, because we can look at other situations where they're not maybe considered GOAT coaches necessarily, but really good, like the Shanahans and the McVays, and like putting those coaches on a hot seat is not setting anyone up to succeed. Okay, you want to feel, how often in your own job, in your own work, or a relationship, have you ever had someone, a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or husband and wife, whatever, give you like some sort of ultimatum, essentially put you on that hot seat, make you feel like that if you don't, improve or this or that, you know, things are going to go bad. It feels uncomfortable. Now, if you are truly messing up, right, as a person in this relationship now, and, you know, you need that wake up call and you go, oh my God, I don't want to lose her. I am messing up. I need to get my, you know, like, yes, I need to stop, right? I need to grow up. I need to mature, whatever, right? That can sometimes be a good wake up call. That can be beneficial. But a lot of times it just means like you're not compatible for each other. You either genuinely don't like this person or they genuinely don't like you. And, you know, the amount of attention you can get, right? It's just, there's just something missing and lacking. And so when you get that ultimatum, if you try to force it to make it work, there's uncomfortability surrounding around it, you know? And that's the way I see this situation. If you need to put Dak on a hot seat, well then, like, what are we saying here? Like, that means that means at the heart of it, that means you don't care enough about him. And if Mike McCarthy is on a hot seat, that means you don't think he's a good enough coach. It's really that simple to me, because if this was their first few years, then I understand, because I'm about to make another video specifically about Brock Purdy that I haven't reviewed yet, that with regards to, you know, should they pay him, you know, or do they want to wait in terms of like to evaluate him before they give him, you know, a great big amount of money. And I didn't see the whole clip, but it was a clip that I wasn't going to originally review, but then I saw, you know, like the first like minute of it and I was like, ooh, this is getting good. Like, actually, I want to really do this. And it was an interesting, you know, question, and I immediately agreed with Brew and disagreed with Nick. And so the point that I'm trying to make is that sometimes it's right to sit back and evaluate and be like, all right, let's just kind of see what we got here. And then maybe that is the hot seat. And other times it's like, if you don't know by now, then what are you doing, right? If you've been dating someone, if you've been together with them for years and they're like, here's the hot seat, it's like, we've been together for years. This is who I am. If you don't like it, then I don't know what to say to you. But this is who I am. There's nothing else I can do here, you know? But if you're in the beginning stages of a relationship and someone's like, hey, you know what? I really like you, but you know, to be honest, I need a little bit more of what you're willing to give right now. Like, I understand, you know, you want to have freedom, this, that, and the third. Hiccups. Do you want to? What do you want to do? Do you want to be together or not? Or do you still kind of want to, you know, be more casual because casual doesn't work for me, right? Then it's like, all right, great. You know, there's not too much of like, well, I don't really know the person, or that I've known this person for so long. Like, that makes sense. So ultimately what I'm trying to say is if you don't know who Dak is by now, I don't know what to tell you. And if you don't know who Mike McCarthy is by now, I don't know what to tell you. So if you were willing to put both these people on the hot seat, then you probably should have fired Mike McCarthy. I mean, you probably should have went out and got Bill Belichick. Or again, like I keep saying, made Harbaugh, the hiccups, the Harbaugh, you know, and the Harbaugh, you know, an offer that he couldn't refuse. You could have gotten Harbaugh to Dallas. Are you kidding me? He would have loved to have the star on his helmet. Absolutely. You could have definitely, I would be shocked if there was some sort of amount of money that he would have turned down. I just can't see it. And then you get to see him with Dak. To see what he says about Dak. Have him evaluate Dak. You know? Let the actual experts give you their expert analysis, you know? Because the problem is, you know, if you don't trust if Mike McCarthy proves not to really be that great of a coach to you, and you're taking his input on how good is Dak, you know what I mean? It's now essentially getting bad medical advice from a bad doctor. You know, I mean, so I just think the Cowboys actually created, you know, Jerry Jones put together a really good team, a really solid team, and that it's either good enough or it's not. And if it's not good enough, then what changes do you have to make? But to like run it back effectively, but then just say, well, these guys better do better, or else what? This is who they are. This is who Dak Prescott is. This is who Mike McCarthy is. Like, this is who these guys are. What else are you expecting? Are you expecting Mike McCarthy to suddenly turn into Andy Reid? Because it's not going to happen. Do you think Dak Prescott is suddenly going to turn into Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes? Because it's not going to happen. So I just don't know what you're expecting. I really don't. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. As I said, I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, let's get into it in the comments. Let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But adult me. Let's just have some fun. And as I said, also, please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I truly would love to see you part of it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. And if you want to watch other videos, if you're watching this video right now, that means I posted a whole bunch of other ones. Definitely click around. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of other videos that you would be more than happy to watch. I do all different shows, whether it be The Herd, First Things First, First Take. I do them all. And if there's any shows that I don't do that you would like me to do, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much, and see you next time.